Hey everybody, I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and thanks so much for being here on April 26, 2023. I've got some great people here from eTherapy, okay, good friends of mine, and they're going to tell us about eQUIP, okay, which is their new professional development program for school districts that provides educators and staff and parents with tools and resources, okay, on demand that they need to recognize and respond to mental health challenges. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on my two guests today, Matt Knapp and also John Ebert, both from eTherapy. Hi, guys, and I got to tell you, there was a problem here on the tech, and we're going to do a 15-minute show today. Then we're going to reschedule and do a longer one. I got to start off with that. It's an error in the technicians here. Okay, so how you doing? Hi, guys, I'm Larry.
Doing great, Larry.
Yeah, so we're going to talk
Larry.
quick on this one, and then we're going to do it again. And I apologize for this. It's just a glitch in the system today, and it won't let me make this show any longer. It's making me nuts. So what can I tell you?
That's okay. We're going to roll. We're going to roll with it, and we'll see you again, I guess, down the road.
Absolutely. We're going to reschedule. I'll be in touch on that, but I want to do this now. Okay, so we're going to have a good 15 minutes, okay, together here on this professional development, which I think is extremely important. It's all at electronic-therapy.com. Okay, so go ahead and tell me all about eQUIP, and I'm going to ask John, who's the eTherapy Mental Health Program Manager, to start this off. Tell me what's going on here. How do we get ahead of these challenges of mental health that are going out there? I think this is brilliant, John.
I think the big thing when it comes to professional development and trying to get ahead of some of the obstacles that we're seeing in mental health, it's that old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that's really what we're trying to do with eQUIP. What it's going to allow us to do, Larry, is recognize things early, okay? This is going to provide opportunities for us to intervene before distress becomes disorder, right? Early response will help minimize some of the broader impacts that mental health distress can have, not just on the individual experiencing them, but their families, their loved ones, those that are around them. And I think one of the primary things that I love about this program, eQUIP, that we've developed is that it's going to allow teachers to get others involved, okay? Teachers are trenches. They're in front of kids each and every day that are experiencing distress. And so by providing them with some of the education and the tools and resources, it's going to allow them to recognize and respond in therapeutic ways and then get these kids help that's going to better the student as well as allow teachers to get back to what it is they do best, and that's teaching.
Exactly, and with this age of teacher retention challenges, okay, we have to be sure that teachers are set to do their job. The kids they're teaching are changing. They are under stress, okay, and that builds stress for teachers. And if teachers and staff don't have a way to handle this and help prevent it with their kids, they're not going to be happy in their job. They're going to leave. It's a vicious cycle out there, and everybody knows these mental health issues are just incredible. Matt, add on to that for a second. What are you finding out there? What are people really facing? Matt Knapp.
Well, Larry, great to talk with you. I was nodding
buddy.
vigorously to that. I had an interesting conversation with the superintendent just a couple weeks ago. She mentioned where – and this is, I thought, like a great perspective or an interesting perspective that's not being talked about enough. She said, hey, the issues really haven't changed that we're facing. The issues are still kind of the same issues that were 3 to 5 years ago. What had changed from her perspective was how some of her teachers were responding to the issues. Again, same issues. It's
that's
just,
interesting.
It's just how maybe they were responding. And so she had an example where you had an all-star teacher, super well-reviewed, that was very discouraged about the progress in some of the advanced classes that she was teaching. And the superintendent decided to sit in and audit a couple of the classes and found that, no, things were going really well. All the good feedback had been well-deserved. But there was a disconnect there, obviously, with how the teacher thought things were going. And so as the superintendent drilled in a little bit more, she ultimately traced it back to a bunch of negativity in the teacher break room, where you had a teacher absorb some of that negativity in the break room and came back and said, wow, things really are bad.
Wow. Well, we've all been in faculty rooms, believe me. Okay, and they can get it's like any other break room. Okay, that's where people go and moan and groan and bitch and all that sort of thing. All right, and
exactly.
it's part of human nature. Okay, it's the place to blow off steam, etc. But that can be infectious. Okay, and usually infection is pretty bad. It brings up an interesting point. We are always talking, okay, Matt, about how the kids are just coming back from a pandemic. Okay, and a lot of these kids have seen relatives and friends die. Okay, it's been a tough few years. Okay, but that pandemic also affected the educators. Okay, they're coming back from a tough time, and what they had to do was superhero status. Okay, they had to set up a whole new system of teaching. Okay, under pressure to do so. Okay, and then come back, and again, the world's a bit more chaotic than it used to be. Things change. The classic example of that is more people are working at home. Downtown office spaces are available than ever used to be. Okay, things have changed. They really have. And people don't change overnight. We like to think we do, but we actually don't. So go into this, and I'll give this to you, Matt, but you guys can figure out who wants to do it. Tell me about eQUIP in particular. And again, we're going to do a second show. I'm going to get back to you right after this. We're going to do a second show where we're going to go into much more detail. But just go ahead, Matt, eQUIP, just talk about this. What is it?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off what John mentioned. I think what he mentioned is so important about the ounce of prevention, pound of cure.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
Really, if we could be proactive about these issues, and I'll relate it that's related to general health care. Before I get to the point where I have to make an appointment with my doctor or I go to ER, they do a little triage. Before we get to that point, there's a whole lot that I could be doing of preventative health care. For example, maybe sleep, 7-8 hours a night, maybe eat right, maybe exercise, wear my seatbelt, don't smoke. There's just certain things you can do to proactively get ahead of the game. And I just to take what John said earlier, I kind of look at it that way when we talk about the ounce of prevention, pound of cure. We could proactively deal with a lot of these issues. If we could address this on the front end, then it's going to be a lot easier as some of these issues arise. There's so much we could do on the front end, Larry.
Yeah, go ahead, John. Please go.
I was going to say, Matt, I love that you gave the example of kind of our physical health, because those are conversations that have been normalized. But conversations about our mental health have not been normalized. Physical health. And so, one of the issues that I think, Larry, you brought up with the impacts on teachers, and then Matt, you brought up about a lot of times issues are created internally. We have to start normalizing conversations around mental health and giving teachers a broader perspective, not just about what the signs and symptoms are that they should be looking for in students, but the signs and symptoms that they should be looking for in themselves. There are a lot of times that teachers are basically responding to what in reality are symptoms, right? A kid acting out, certain behaviors, withdrawal, aggression. It would almost be like, us treating a fever and not bothering to explore what's creating the fever. And so eQUIP is putting tools and resources in the hands of teachers where they're not just treating, they're actually looking for and responding to distressful conditions that are impacting kids.
It's just amazing. So what does it take? And guys, we've got about 4 minutes left. I want to ask you, and then we're going to do a second show, but I want to ask you this, okay? What does it take to get what happens? Somebody gets someone e-therapy, electronic therapy, electronic-therapy.com. They go over there, they decide they want to do eQUIP. Now what happens? Okay? How do they get this into their teachers? What happens? Okay, I'll throw this to John. Continue, John.
Well, I think accessibility is key, and they can not only, contact us at www.electronic-therapy.com in order to get more information, but there are so many tools and resources that are available through eQUIP that teachers can begin immediately applying to their work with students. We know that educators are already overwhelmed. We know that teaching is difficult work, and we are just wanting to position ourselves in this mental health space so we can be a resource that provides essential content in small bite-sized intervals that are going to allow teachers to not just impact their classrooms, but also impact their living rooms at home.
Hey Larry,
it's so important. And by the way, guys, I want to say it's brilliant. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead. Go, Matt.
Well, I just think that bite-sized learning, micro-learning component, I think is maybe worth expounding on for a minute, because I'll talk with superintendents, and they get the importance of these topics, but they're like, Matt, if we schedule another in-service day, we're getting, eye rolls and audible groans. It's like
they're creating their own mental health problem.
We got enough on our plate.
Yeah, they do that. They're creating their own mental health problem. They need something different.
Yeah, but if we could make this available all on one platform where it's chronological, walking you through effective content delivered as John said, in bite-sized doses, to me, if we could just take these concepts and do them in 5-minute increments where, it's not overwhelming. I don't have to sit through a 2-hour session, but as I go through the day, I could knock a couple of these out. One, I think the research shows that's a more effective way to learn. And I think as we bring on new teachers, you'll find that, look what's popular on social media right now. It's the TikTok and Reels. It's these smaller, doses of video. And I just think we're trying to take that same principle and apply it to training. There's a lot of great content out there. And mental health and well-being, that's not really a topic where there's necessarily wildly diverging views on the topic. A lot of us are all saying the same thing. I think the value that we've brought to the table is having it all in one place in this bite-sized content that you can kind of maneuver through the content quickly, and it builds on each other, and then ultimately that it sticks better. And then by it sticking with the individual, your front line is going to be better equipped to deal with the everyday issues that you eloquently mentioned.
Yeah, you guys are going to hear from me in about 3 minutes when we're done here. Okay, as soon as this show's over, we're going to schedule some more. Okay, I think, and I think you guys are really on to something. Diana, she's great. I got to tell you, your boss,
she's
Diana,
pretty smart.
Okay, yeah, she's smart. Good way to put it. She is smart. Okay, and this is very clever, and it just makes sense. Okay, people need help, and they need it in timed elements that they can handle. They got enough on their plate. You got to help them the way we learn today. It's just that simple. Guys, I'm going to end this session, but you'll be hearing from me in about 3 minutes, okay? And then you and I are going to schedule for our next little session. Sound good?
It was a pleasure to talk with you, Larry. Thanks so much.
Well, it's going to be even more pleasure when I have more time to get into this, okay? You guys are terrific. I appreciate your understanding. It's a tech glitch today, but we'll take care of it. All right? Matt, John, I'll be back to you, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thanks again. Take care.
Okay, guys. Bye. Now, I apologize also to the audience, okay? Our shows are usually 45 minutes to an hour, okay? But this is a glitch. I plunked that in, and it came up 15 minutes. It didn't accept it, okay? One of those things, all right? So we're going to take care of it, all right, and get these guys back on, all right? This is at electronic-therapy.com. It's called eQUIP. Okay, and just go there and you'll learn all about it. I'm Larry Jacobs. What we do is all about equity at ace-ed.org. Give a listen, and I'll talk to you a bit later.